Is it really doable? Can machines really think? Can they really be like humans? Can they really perceive? What do you think? Not yet. That's a good, safe answer. I appreciate that. Yeah, the truth is, so far, machines can do everything that humans can do a little bit better, except for everything that humans can do. You know, you get what I'm saying? If we take a perception task, like, can you recognize traffic signs? Turns out we can beat humans with machines. If you take how well can you diagnose medical conditions? Machines can beat us. How well can they play chess? Well, they can beat us. If you can define anything really well, they beat us. Driving? Not yet. We still beat them. Babysitting children? I would never leave my child with a robot. Not in this lifetime, anyway. But they're getting there. They're starting to do all the things that we do. But the one thing machines totally can't do is all of it. There is no machine that can tell what's going on well enough to be more proficient than humans at everything all at the same time. Is it possible? Yeah. Can we even get there? I think so. Okay, how about this one? Can a machine perceive? I'm going to say yes, because they can recognize audio and faces and all these things better than humans when they're properly trained and put in the specific environments and given the right percepts and a huge training data and all that stuff. But given the right questions, I think they can perceive. Are they aware of what they perceive? I don't know. Depends what that means. They reduce it to numbers, and we can compute with those numbers, and we know how to make decisions with those numbers. And if they make intelligent decisions, doesn't that suggest that they're aware? I mean, my robotic vacuum bumps into my feet when I'm standing in the middle of the room, and then it goes around. It doesn't just sit there banging into my foot. That's certainly not very aware, but it's a little bit aware, isn't it? Yeah, it just smears it all over. So they are most certainly not general. Okay, are machines general? Not yet. We showed with the Q-learning that with Atari games we can beat a whole bunch of them with one algorithm. That's about the wimpiest general ever, right? But they're starting to get general. I think machines can be general. I think they aren't yet, but they might be eventually. Here's one that gets a lot of people. Are machines sentient?
No.
Okay, we've got a no. Can they be sentient?
No question mark.
What is sentience? Okay, what is sentience? That's the ability to experience sensations. So you smash your thumb with a hammer, it hurts. Okay. The biggest problem with asking this question is, what is sentience? If you take a dog and you hit it with a hammer, don't do this, by the way, that's cruel. The dog is going to go, ooh, 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 it's going to hurt and run away, and you're going to feel like a rotten person, and rightly so, because you are. But you know the dog experiences sentience because it whimpers, right? What if you make a machine that responds in a similar way? That's not sentience, is it? What is sentience?
It's learned from experience.
Yeah, but we have things that learn from experience, like Q-learners and these learning algorithms, like neural nets and reinforcement learning and all these things. Is it possible that sentience is an emergent property of intelligence? Remember in chess, we coded up chess and we just followed alpha beta pruning. Very simple algorithm, and yet complex strategies emerged. Could sentience be a complex emergent phenomenon of intelligence? And, you know, does Google hurt? I don't know, probably not, but maybe. And of course, tied to this is, are machines conscious? Conscious. What is consciousness? Well, it has something to do with sentience and awareness and the ability to make decisions. And we've got most of those. We really kind of need the sentience one. So can machines be conscious? So this comes back to philosophical debates. Long ago, Descartes made the observation, I'm sure he wasn't the first to make this observation, but hey, people have both bodies and minds. Are they the same thing? I think we can prove they're not, right? Because if you take a living person, they have them both, and then you kill that person, don't do this at home, then you have a body, but the mind is gone. Therefore, body and mind are two separate things, are they not? Can you have a mind without a body? I don't know, that's the question. Okay, so Descartes started this thing that became known as Cartesian dualism. And the idea is, by dual, dual suggests there are two parts. There's the body and there's the mind. Well, what is the dual in you that makes you conscious? Is that really a thing? And then philosophers argue about dualism versus monism. Monism suggests you're just one thing, right? If you have a working brain, you also have a mind. And the dualists say, nah, you need a working brain and you need a mind, which is this separate thing. And this has been beaten 6 different ways in philosophy. What I mean is hammered 6 different ways in philosophy. As far as consciousness is concerned, it kind of comes down to 2 philosophies. There's the dualism idea that you need something other than just the hardware. And there's something called functionalism. And the functionalists suggest that you don't need 2 things, you just need the function. If you behave like you're conscious, you are. We'll all agree, if your computer contains that, it's cheating, right? There is such a thing as faking consciousness. So if you can fake consciousness, are you conscious? Well, what if you fake it really, really well? What if you pass the Turing test? What if no one can tell? If every possible situation, and what if, more than the Turing test, what if you can have deep philosophical conversations with someone, you can live a lifetime with someone, and they can never tell that you're not conscious? Are you conscious? Well, the functionalists say yes, and the dualists say no. Okay, the functionalists say yes because you are functionally conscious, and the dualists say no because you lack the dual, whatever the dual is. So how can we solve this problem? We'd really like to know, are our machines ever going to be conscious? Because, we've got all the pieces of consciousness. They're starting to come together. Is it going to happen? Is one day Google going to have an opinion? Or if we build a sufficiently complex machine, can consciousness come out as an emergent property? And how are we going to solve it? I don't know. Well, there are a whole bunch of approaches to it, and I obviously can't dig all the way into philosophy. Oh, well, here's an interesting thing. Let me take a quick tangent. Here's a picture of the brain. Brain really has, there are several different major parts to it. One of the biggest parts is the cerebral cortex. That's this big part it's the skin over the top of your brain that's all wrinkly. Okay, all around this outer part of the brain. Inside, down next to the thalamus, there's this region called the basal ganglia, which is responsible for, dopamine and habits and the choices you make and things like that. And then there's this region down here, this big lobe that has a whole bunch of tiny cells in it called the cerebellum. And this has to do with a whole bunch of motor control and various things like that. And there are other parts of the brain too. But for right now, let me focus on these 3. Why those 3? Turns out scientists have studied them, and this was probably around turn of the century. There's a paper as far back as 1997 that identifies. They studied the neurons in the cerebral cortex of the brain. That's the biggest part of it, especially the frontal cortex, which makes us have logic and makes humans really smart. And they discovered that the mechanism by which the synaptic connections in the brain form is analogous with unsupervised learning. And they can actually reduce this to an unsupervised learning algorithm. As it happens, they identified that in the basal ganglia, which is located next to the thalamus, that's this region that works with. What's the purpose of dopamine? Dopamine is basically reinforcement. Remember when we studied reinforcement learning, if you give it a reward, that says, hey, that was good, go this way. Well, it turns out that when the cerebral cortex recognizes a pattern that it's familiar with, and it correctly anticipates what's happening, that causes a little bit of dopamine to be released in the basal ganglia, which reinforces the path that you're doing. People like to be right. They like to know what's going on. They like to be aware. And when something happens that didn't align with their predictions, that alerts them, that bothers them, they don't like that, and that makes them pay attention. Well, this whole mechanism of that working, it turns out is very, very much like reinforcement learning. In fact, it can be reduced to a type of reinforcement learning. And what happens in the cerebellum, you guessed it, supervised learning, turns out we have representations of the three types of learning that independently evolved in science. As we've just been studying how we can make a machine learn, we formed these different types of learning, and it turns out, we didn't know this until 20 years ago, those same types of learning also evolved within the human brain. Isn't that kind of uncanny? I thought it was cool. Well, to me, that tells a story. That tells me that, hey, in order to be effective, you push in a particular direction. And it seems to me that direction is developing these different approaches for taking data and making sense of it and making meaning of it and understanding it and reducing it to meaningful ways of representing and comprehending it. I think science is evolving in many of the same ways that the brain already did. And I hypothesize, and this is not true doctrine or anything, this is me speculating about where science is going, but I think that much more than we recognize, computer science is uncovering the same techniques that the brain already has, even if we don't know what's in the brain. I think we're getting closer and closer to consciousness, and I think they will emerge as conscious.